Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really risky trend that's making waves in the fitness world. Bodybuilders using powerful diabetes drugs to get absolutely shredded. We're going to break down exactly what's going on and why it's so incredibly dangerous.
But first, we have to get this out of the way, and it's super important. This is for your information only. It is absolutely not a substitute for real medical advice. You should always talk to a qualified doctor or healthcare professional before making any decisions about your health. Okay? Let's get into it.
So you have to ask the question, is this some kind of ultimate shortcut to that perfect, chiseled physique? Or is it just a deadly gamble? We're going to look at why some bodybuilders are reaching for these serious prescription meds to get an edge, and what the actual science says about the risks involved.
So what's the deal here? Why would anyone take such a huge risk? Well, it really just boils down to a few promises that, on the surface, sound almost too good to be true for anyone who's trying to get into peak physical shape.
These drugs seem to offer this incredible trifecta. First, you've got the promise of extreme, super-fast fat loss. Second, the idea that you can hold on to all that muscle you worked so hard for during a tough diet. And third, a big boost in insulin sensitivity, which basically means your body gets way more efficient at using nutrients. You can totally see the appeal, right?
So what are these drugs really? Well, they're called GLP-1 receptor agonists. They were specifically designed to help people with type 2 diabetes. They work by copying hormones that control your blood sugar and slow down how fast you digest food. The key takeaway? They were never, ever meant for healthy athletes. Okay, so we've talked about the tempting promises. Now let's flip the coin and talk about the dangerous reality. Because using these drugs off-label, without a doctor watching over you, well, that's a completely different ballgame.
And this is just a crucial point to understand. For a patient with diabetes, a doctor is carefully weighing the pros and cons. But for a healthy bodybuilder, that whole risk versus reward calculation gets tossed right out the window. The potential for serious harm just skyrockets when you take away both the medical need and the professional supervision.
And look, we're not talking about minor side effects here. We're talking about severe hypoglycemia. That's dangerously low blood sugar, which can lead to confusion, seizures, or even passing out. Then there's pancreatitis, a really painful inflammation of your pancreas that can land you in the hospital. And that's all on top of serious stomach issues and totally unpredictable reactions with other supplements you might be taking.
This is where the danger really gets turned up to 11. Because getting these drugs legally is pretty much impossible for a healthy person. And that forces people to turn to the completely unregulated and frankly hazardous black market.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? When you're buying from some underground lab or a shady website, you are stepping into a world with zero quality control. The stuff you get could be contaminated, it could be the wrong dose, or it could be a completely different chemical altogether. You're flying blind.
And when you lay it out side by side, the difference is just stark. With a legit prescription, you get quality control, you get accurate dosing, you get a doctor's guidance. From the black market, you're trading all of that safety for the risk of contamination, pure guesswork on your dose, and absolutely nobody to help you if things go south.
So with all these insane risks, you have to wonder, do these drugs even deliver on the hype that gets bodybuilders interested in the first place? Let's take a look at what the actual clinical data shows.
Just think about this for a minute. Up to 40% of people in clinical trials report feeling severely nauseous. Now imagine you're a bodybuilder on a strict high-protein diet. Nausea and vomiting can make it literally impossible to get your meals in, completely wrecking your progress.
And this right here is where the science just pulls the rug out from under the hype. The big promise is that you'll keep all your muscle, right? But the studies show that's just not true. A significant chunk of the weight that people lose is actually lean body mass, the exact thing a bodybuilder is fighting to keep.
So here's the bottom line. The really dramatic fat loss results, those happen in people who have a lot of body fat to lose in the first place. For a competitive bodybuilder who's already pretty lean, the effects are often way less impressive. It means you're taking on all of that risk for a much smaller potential reward.
But hey, the good news is you don't need to take these crazy risks. There are proven, safer, and way more sustainable methods to get you to your physique goals. At the end of the day, getting the results you want the right way, it always comes back to the fundamentals, doesn't it? It's about optimizing your training, dialing in your nutrition, and maybe most importantly, just giving the process the time it actually takes. There are no shortcuts to an elite physique, period. And hey, if you are looking for that extra edge, there are supplements that have tons of real science backing them up, and they're safe.
Things like creatine to help you maintain strength, a little caffeine for a metabolic boost, beta-alanine for training endurance. These can all support your goals without forcing you to gamble with your health.
I love this quote from a pharmacist because it really gets to the heart of it. This isn't about judging anyone. It's about harm reduction. It's about making sure you have the right information so you can make the safest possible choices for your own body.
And really, that brings us to the final question. Those amazing physiques you see and admire, they were built on years of consistency, discipline, and patience, not on a roll of the dice with some sketchy black market drug. No shortcut is ever worth your long-term health. So why gamble with it?